Hi, I'm Doug Scholz-Carlson. I'm the stage director for the production. This is the first time I've worked on Così, tutte. We're having a really good time in rehearsal. I'm very excited for it. Minnesota Opera is the company that introduced me to opera. I really didn't know much about it. My history is pretty long. I've been singing in the chorus. I have been a fight director. This is the third production that I've directed for the company. I've been an intimacy director for the company, so lots of different stuff. One of the things we started with, Ryan Taylor has a long history of performing in this production. He had done one where the audience got to choose the ending. And he said the audience engagement, just the way people were watching it, they were so much more engaged because they knew they had a decision to make. So we sort of started there with the concept. And then I had been doing all kinds of reading about the relationships between men and women and the way things are changing in society and how kind of off balance that is made, especially young people dating. And then when we were talking about all of that, we realized, oh, it really needs to be a modern set. Like if we say it's set today, then people have a decision to make. If you're saying, well, what would these couples have done 200 years ago? People can go, well, you know, it was 200 years ago. Maybe their lives were completely different. I think what we don't realize is that people still love, people still felt what they felt. But if we put it in a modern setting, then they can relate to their own lives. They can say, how would I act in this situation? If my partner had behaved that way to me, how would I choose to act? And how would I make that decision? The men start out, they're going to be literally playing video games on the couch. We meet the women at their startup ad agency. The next place we go is a bar that is maybe where the women would go, like an upscale bar where the women would go. And then in the second act, we're going to go to a brewery. All of those things just grew out of the sort of initial ones. As soon as we wanted to set it modern, then we started thinking about actual places in Minneapolis. What does an ad agency look like in the North Loop? What does the street look like? Really, literally right outside of the opera space where we're rehearsing. What are the breweries in town, or where are places that people hang out? The interesting thing about setting it in a very modern time and being able to reference people who've lived in the same community is you can have a really nuanced conversation about what those spaces mean. For instance, Prize Brewery is different from Modest, is different from Indeed. And you can actually have that conversation and it's meaningful to the designer, so you're not talking about something that you historically researched, you're talking about something that you experienced. How does that feel? So we will do our voting at the intermission. You'll go to the lobby, you'll get a little chip, you'll be able to put it in a stack, we'll be able to see those stacks stack up, we'll be able to tell who voted for what. It'll take us a minute to count all of those. So interestingly, the cast may be on stage for the second act before they find out how it's going to end. The music is going to stay the same all the way through. So every audience is going to see the same music performed all the way through. It's just the staging will change a little bit, and we will either end up with those couples going their own way, the couples staying together in their original ones, or deciding to be in those new couples. The audience won't know what's going to happen until we get to the very end. Minnesota Opera's Così tutte will be on stage at the Ordway November 1st through the 9th. Get your tickets at mnopera.org.